What's going on, guys? Sdotbell MMA here. I wanted to make a video today talking about the new updated ESPN men's pound for pound ranking in the UFC. And this list was voted on by Ariel Helwani, Brett Okamoto, Jeff Wagenheim, and Mark Raimondi. All right, so we're gonna go down the list, start from number 10. There haven't been a lot of changes in terms of spots, but there are some big ones at the top of the list that made a couple changes, as some of you guys may know. So let's start with number 10, tied for 10th place between Peter Yahn and Robert Whittaker. And actually, prior to that, both of these guys were unranked. Peter Yahn at that 135 bantamweight spot, he obviously should be the champion. What happened between him and Aljamain Sterling was hard to watch. Yes, it was an illegal strike. Aljamain technically should have won by disqualification if he was unable to continue. Strange situation. Folks have been making fun of Aljamain Sterling ever since, but I think in the rematch things are gonna be a bit more clear. I think Peter Yan's really got what it takes to finish Aljamain Sterling in that next fight. Within that as well, who else is tied for number 10? Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker, Bobby Knuckles in that middleweight division is looking really good. His fight with Kelvin Gastelum, he showed clearly that he's still one of the top guys in the division. I actually had the opportunity to meet Kelvin Gastelum. I have that video up here on my YouTube as well, so you guys can check that out. But yeah, Bobby Knuckles is in prime position. So Israel Adesanya, the current champion of the middleweight division, is going to be fighting Vettori in June. And then whoever is going to win out of that, I think it's still going to be Izzy, will end up probably fighting Robert Whittaker for the strap. And I think that Izzy versus Bobby Knuckles 2 is going to be one for the ages. I think he's going to do a lot better that second time around. But who knows what's going to happen from there. All right, in the number 9 position, we've got Max Blessed Holloway. And for me, Max should actually be higher. I still think Max is the greatest featherweight of all time, and he's still one of the best fighters in MMA and in the UFC. I don't think he lost either of those fights against Vokanovsky, so I think he should still be the champion. But that's neither here nor there. You watch those fights, and the first fight you could argue that because of the leg kicks, Vokanovsky won. The second fight, it just upset me to watch how the judges in the UFC are seeing these fights, because a lot of times they'll make these crappy decisions, and that was the case with Max. But Max has been able to dominate everybody else. We're gonna see how Vokanovsky does against Brian Ortega, who is one of my favorite featherweights to watch. Love his jiu-jitsu, love his boxing. But we watched what Max did to him. If he can beat Vokanovsky, that'll be a feat in itself. But we'll see. Hopefully, I think Vokanovsky and Brian will have a really, really close fight. I'm hoping that Brian Ortega wins, because I would love for him to fight Max again. But I think if Vokanovsky wins, then there's a third fight between him and Max, because Max is really the only other guy for him to fight. But Max, I think they were talking about this. Max versus either Yair Rodriguez or Zabit Magomedsharipov. I think he beats both of those guys, but I think there will still be fun fights to watch. So if they do book either of those, that would be pretty freaking dope. I still hold true to the fact that I believe that both Zabit and Yair are button smashers. They still got a lot to learn, but they are, both very skilled, very athletic fighters, and they're fun to watch. So we'll see if they book either of those fights against Max. So yeah, tied. Is a 3-way tie for 6th place, and it's between Dustin Poirier. I don't know how to say his last name. Davison Figueiredo. That's what it is. Deiveson Figueiredo and Jan Blachowicz. All right. So with Dustin finished Conor, but Conor's been just on a downward trend for a while now, and Dustin is one of the top guys in that lightweight division, and lightweight division is filled with such killers. I mean, obviously we've got Dustin. Within that, we've got Charles Oliveira. Now we got Michael Chandler. Now we've got Justin Gaethje. You know, we have all these guys that are in the thick of that lightweight division, and now that Khabib is gone, we're still looking for who's going to be that true dominant champion. But what I see happening in that lightweight division right now is that there's just going to be a crab in the barrel type of situation. Meaning, I feel like the title is going to change hands a lot because the competition is so evenly matched when it comes to all of those fighters in that lightweight division. So, you know, you have Justin Gaethje that could beat Michael Chandler, that could beat Conor McGregor, that could beat Dustin Poirier, that could beat Charles Oliveira. Look, it's that type of situation. And we've got UFC 262 coming up with Tony Ferguson fighting. We've got Chandler and Oliveira fighting. We have some really good fights coming up in that lightweight division. And then Dustin will be fighting Conor in July. And then after that, hopefully whoever wins that one is going to be next in line to fight for the lightweight championship after we find out who's going to be the champion out of Oliveira and Michael Chandler. Deiveson Figueiredo, he should have won that last fight. Obviously, he got a point deducted, which is the only reason why he didn't get the decision. But I believe that they booked the rematch for that fight. It's going to be one for the ages. Both of those guys are super tough. That flyweight division has new life with their new champion, and I don't see any reason why he doesn't end up winning the rematch. So that's going to be fun to watch. And then the third person tied for sixth place, Yahn Blachowicz. Yahn just coming off a victory beating Israel Adesanya. I don't know why anybody thought that it was going to go any different than it did. And then watching that fight with the commentary, you realize that the commentators have a very, very clear bias, which is also why it doesn't make any sense why Jan Blachowicz, after he beat Israel Adesanya, is still ranked lower than Israel Adesanya. And this will just go straight to the fact that Dana White and the UFC are dick riders when it comes to their cash cows. Because I don't understand why after a loss is he still ranked this high. But Jan Blachowicz is doing his thing. I'm excited to see who he's going to be matched up against next in that division at light heavyweight. You know, he's beat Dominic Reyes. So I'm curious to see. Has he fought Anthony Smith? I don't think he has. But Anthony Smith is coming off a win, even though it was an odd situation. But I think that'll be good. Dominic Reyes, if he can get the win this coming weekend, can maybe get a second shot. But I feel like Jan's got an opportunity to maintain that light heavyweight strap and get a few title defenses under his belt, and reign over that light heavyweight division. At number 5, we have Alexander Vokanovsky. Now, don't get me wrong. Volk is a great kickboxer. He's got solid wrestling. But I think he's ranked too high. I think Max is better. I think Dustin is better. I think Deiveson better, and I think Yahn is better. I would have him ranked at that 8-9 position, just for my personal opinion. Don't get it twisted. He's a great fighter. He's a great champion. The fact that got the nod from these judges, you have to respect it, even though you may not agree with it, which I personally don't. But he's done his thing, and let's see how he does against Brian Ortega and if he can maintain that featherweight championship. Number 4, Francis the Predator Ngannou. Now, after we watch what he did to Stipe, there's no question that Francis has improved significantly. Stipe even realizes that he has to bulk up because of that. Stipe is talking about bulking up to 250 after the manhandling that he received from Francis in this last championship bout, man. Francis just did his thing, dude. His wrestling's got significantly better. His timing's gotten better. And now we're looking at him either fighting Derek Lewis for his first title defense or Jon Jones. I want it to be Derek Lewis first, just because that first fight should have been all fireworks, and we got a scared Francis versus a lackluster Derek in that one. But I think this fight, if they do book that one, it's going to be the one we expected the first time around, which is all fireworks. I don't see that fight going past the second or third round if it does happen. I do see Francis pulling it out, but I definitely see Derek Lewis and Francis just throwing hammers at each other, and we'll see probably one of the greatest heavyweight fights of all time. And then whoever wins out of that, I still think it'll be Francis, will end up fighting Jon Jones for the heavyweight championship, which is going to be exciting, man. I want to see what Jon can do at heavyweight. Number 3, Israel Adesanya. Again, I do not understand why Israel Adesanya is still ranked higher than Jan Blachowicz after what Jan did to him and what he did to Dominic Reyes to become the light heavyweight champion. Yes, Israel Adesanya is fun to watch. Yes, he's exciting. Yes, he's skilled, but he's beatable. And now we see how beatable he is. But he's a popular guy. My hope is that I eventually get to fight him someday, because I get it. He's good. He can fight. He's exciting to watch, but he's beatable, man. He's beatable, and I see it. And Yahn has shown just one way to beat him. But he's currently ranked number 3. Again, he's got Vettori coming up for his next title defense. I don't see Vettori beating him. I think Vettori is going to get a little aggressive, and he's going to pick Vettori apart. And then he's going to walk through that until he has to fight Robert Whittaker. So I think that's what's going to happen when it comes to Izzy and this next title defense coming up in June. In June. And now we have a new number 2. Jon Jones has been knocked to the number 2 position as this for pound best fighter. And a part of that is Jon hasn't fought in a while. I mean, again, he's moving to heavyweight. He's been bulking up. We've got to see, activity is an important part of this. And we realize that the pound for pound rankings are essentially a popularity contest at times. But we do get people put in positions where they are supposed to be, which is with that number 1 spot. But Jon Jones, his inactivity has caused him to drop down, right? We get Jon back in that cage, fighting, active. I want to see him active at heavyweight. Then if he can beat Francis Ngannou, if he can beat Derek Lewis, if he can beat other heavyweights. I mean, I don't know that there are many other heavyweights that are going to give him serious competition. But maybe even him fighting Stipe, I think that'll be a fun one to watch. But so Jon's sitting at that number 2 spot. I mean, it's obviously as one of the greatest fighters of all time, even though he's been popped more times than we'd like to say for infractions against the UFC. But hopefully he's able to keep it clean and stay active and have a solid run in heavyweight at the same way he did at light heavyweight. So we'll see. And now for this number 1 spot, we've got the new pound for pound champion, the new number 1, Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman. And I think that this is a well-deserved spot. Kamaru has just been so dominant at this position. He's as the welterweight champion. We watched what he did to Tyron Woodley, who actually just got released from the UFC. I'm sad about that. I'd like to see him fight, if not in the PFL, then I guess in Bellator. But good luck to him in that respect. But we saw what he did to Tyron Woodley. Then he saw what he did to Colby Covington. Then we saw what he did to Masvidal. We saw what he did to Gilbert Burns. And then he did it to Masvidal again. To watch him, go 5 rounds and dominate 50-45, and then to come back in the second fight and then knock the guy who said you didn't have punching power out is just, there's no way to put a stamp on your championship reign than something like that. He's talking about it, and I love the way he's put this. He's talking about lapping these guys, meaning I'm going to beat you once, I'm going to come back around, I'm going to beat you again. And the thing is, the welterweight division is like lightweight in that it's so, there's so much competition in that division, and these fighters are all so closely ranked in terms of their skill and their abilities. And to watch how dominant he is, he's making it look the same way Khabib was making it look in the lightweight division, where he's just dominating these guys who are still also, you know, fantastic, great fighters, but he's just a head and shoulder above all of these guys. So with Kamaru, I think the only other real fights that he needs to do, other than Kobe, which is what he's got coming up next, is going to be Leon Edwards, Wonder Boy, and if possible, Nate or Hamzat. But if Hamzat comes in, I think, strings together maybe 2 or 3 wins, then he gets put in that conversation. But there's really nobody that's on the level to where they're going to be in a position to beat Kamaru Usman. Yeah, maybe Leon Edwards gives him a good fight, but I think she's stronger. He's a better striker. He's a better wrestler. Yeah, Wonder Boy is going to give him a good striking contest, but I think he'll even be able to get Wonder Boy down to the ground in a way that Tyrone wasn't even able to do. A good fight also might be Vicente Luque and Michael Chiesa, but I don't think these guys have anything really for Kamaru in that position. But we'll see what happens, man. But yeah, so that's the rankings. I'll go through it again real quick. We have tied for 10th, Peter Yahn, Robert Whittaker. At number 9, we got Max Holloway. Tied for 3-way tie for 6th place, Dustin Poirier, Davison Figueiredo, and Jan Blachowicz. Number 5, we've got Alexander Volkanovsky. Number 4, Francis Ngannou. 3rd, Israel Adesanya. 2nd, Jon Jones. And then that number 1 pound-for-pound fighter is Kamaru Usman. So tell me what you guys think of the rankings. Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? What's your pound-for-pound top 10 ranking? Yeah, so that's it for now. Please make sure you guys like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks. Thank you guys again for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe. If you want to see more of my videos, you can check me out on social media at Sdotbell on Instagram, Sdotbell MMA on Twitter, Facebook.com/Sdotbell MMA. Thank you guys again. Peace.